Hello there, and welcome to episode 24 of SWA Podcast where we review modern day WWE and New Japan shows, as well as the odd retrospective and classic pay-per-view from the wonderful world of wrestling. Today we're going to briefly discuss the latest NXT TakeOver show in Brooklyn 4 and SummerSlam 2018. I'm your host Reese, and joining me as always is my wonderful co-host Harry. Say hello, Harry.
Oh, that's nice of you. Thanks, Reese. You're right.
You right? Yep.
Yeah,
all
good, mate. Yeah. Got a bit of a tickly cough, so apologies in advance.
Yes, just like Eric Bischoff on
No,
recent
I'm not
episodes of 83 Weeks.
I'm not going to crack that joke again.
I'll set you up, but never mind. Right. So, as mentioned just then, we're going to just briefly go over the latest offerings from NXT. They visited Brooklyn again for the fourth time for another takeover, and then we'll get into the. Oh well, it's just normal now to do the big 4 or 5 of, as they are now, a 6-7 hour show. So we need to tackle SummerSlam. So before then, let's go through NXT Takeover. I'll just run through the results and we'll discuss them. So the Undisputed Era, Kyle O'Reilly and Roddy Strong, defeated Mustache Mounting, Trent Seven, Tyler Bate. This was for the NXT Tag Team Championship. This kind of finishes off their trilogy of what I can only call fantastic tag team matches. This was another strong outing, especially Tyler Bate. I mean, obviously Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly are both really good, and I really enjoy that tag team. But these matches for me are just showcases for Tyler Bate to show what you can do, and he's wonderful.
Oh shit! You want me to? I said you ran through the matches. Sorry.
Well, yeah, no. I was just gonna say, what do you think of this match?
I thought this was. I want to say it is the best match of this night. But
well, maybe.
It was very good though.
It was, yeah.
I did think that the actual NXT match was probably the worst of all 3, even though they're all stellar matches. So I did think this was a step up from that one.
The TV match that Meltzer gave 5 stars.
Yeah, exactly that.
Mm.
But I thought the Royal Albert Hall one was a bit better. But maybe that's just because I'm a bit more inclined to go with the London show. But no, this was a really good opener, really good.
Yeah.
I completely agree with your sentiment about Bate, who is just fucking... It's surreal having this young man,
21 years old.
I know. I mean, they had a discussion about this on the commentary, didn't they? Or it might have been Meltzer and Alvarez. No, Meltzer and Alvarez were trying to work out how old he was.
Yeah, his finishers. The name of his finisher gives away his age.
Yeah, exactly.
Tyler Driver, 97.
97. Yeah, just make you feel incredibly
very old. Yeah. Yeah, this was good, and I agree. I liked the TV match, but the TV match was very, 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 very story driven. Obviously with the submissions and the throwing in the towel and all that. Whereas I thought this and the Royal Albert Hall matches were obviously a bit more, for lack of a better phrase,
wrestling.
A bit more spot based as well, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. No, I agree with that sentiment. And fingers crossed, all 4 of these guys not move on to bigger things as such, because they are quite high up on the fucking card or the totem pole in NXT. But fingers crossed. Also, like Undisputed Era's new T-shirt.
Yeah,
I'll be getting that bad boy when it's available.
Is it black?
It's black, but it's got Strong's name on it, which I think has been a thing that's been missing. He's been with that stable he's been with the stable for fucking months, and they've had to be wearing the same T-shirt with Fish, O'Reilly, and Cole on it.
You could say he's now a staple of the stable.
Ooh.
Yeah, no, good match, good opening. These opening matches to NXT cards are always really strong, and this was no different. A bit different following on from that. So Velveteen Dream defeated EC3. I didn't think this was like, the way I best describe it is it didn't feel like an NXT TakeOver match to me.
Do you mean the sentiment of you think it was more of a WWE style match?
It just didn't feel like an NXT TakeOver caliber match. You know what I mean?
I think the players were. If you were to tell me a month ago, EC3 and Velveteen Dream are going to have a match on a TakeOver show, I'd be like, oh, sign me up for that. That sounds like really good, especially with Dream recently. He's been like a string of really good matches, but this one
Yeah.
was just like, I just don't know what happened. It kind of fell apart, and I don't want to blame Dream for it as such because Dream's had great matches with Black and Ricochet. And
Yeah.
this is EC3's second takeover match, if I remember, since
He was in the 4-way, or was it a 4-way for
exactly.
the
Or
belt?
five-way, whatever it was for the
Yeah,
North American
the
Championship.
ladder match. Yeah.
Part
Yeah,
of me
no,
thinks
it was
that
fine.
I think going from the booking, obviously we're taping this on the Tuesday, so there's no telling of what's happening with the NXT takeover. No, sorry, the NXT tapings. But for all intents and purposes, it looks as if EC3's getting the call up because he's put over the guy, and surely where does he go from here?
Yeah, I don't think it sounds strange, but obviously he's quite well known from his Impact days, and people. He has been exposed to WWE audiences,
He
although
was
a bit
he was in
differently. Yeah,
he was in
and
NXT in its original incarnation.
yeah, so I don't think he's someone who really will benefit from a lengthy stay in NXT. Whereas obviously Dream is a product of the Performance Center, right, or has been for the last year or two.
Mostly, he did cut his teeth on some of the indie
Yeah, of
circuit for a
course,
very
yeah.
brief time when he was let go from Tough Enough. But I think as we've mentioned before, I think he needs a little bit more gestation in NXT before moving up. And at the end of the day, as well, at the moment, NXT is a much more secure playground for him as such. If he moves
Yeah,
up to the WWE main roster, there's no telling of what to do. I mean, he could wind up being like Rude or No Way Jose or a ton of them. Authors of Pain. There's so many ones where there's like, they had all the momentum in the world and then they get shifted up a gear and it's like, oh fuck, they're floundering. Oh fuck, they're not even here.
yeah. He did have "Call Me Up Vince" on his bottom on his gear. So
Did you hear Triple H's excuse on the conference call?
I've read it. What did he say?
That's referring to his friend Vince, who left his
Uh,
cell phone.
he does. He tries to keep kayfabe, doesn't he? Oh, Cole.
I think it was a joke. I think it was a literal joke.
Hmm. Well, we move on to Ricochet defeating Adam Cole. Bye bye.
Bye
To
bye.
win the NXT North American Championship. This match was superb.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. It's kind of funny to say, like, you have expectations and you think, nah, it's not going to surpass it, despite the fact we've been in a 2-year stretch where we've had Omega and Okada basically, smashing through previous boundaries of how good a match can possibly be. And yet this, while not of the same caliber, but it was probably the absolute best you could get from Ricochet and Adam Cole. And that is
Yeah.
saying a lot because they are two very, very good workers. I'm shocked that they've changed the title this quick. I thought Cole would have held it for a little bit longer, maybe to just establish it, but maybe that's just me getting used to the Universal title, which has been held forever to try and establish it.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, I just enjoy watching Ricochet. Even like when I started watching New Japan a bit more frequently about 2 years ago. Obviously, he was always on the big Super Juniors cards and the best of the Super Juniors, and he'd get be in some multi-man matches and whatnot. And obviously, his series of matches with Will Ospreay, which broke the internet and pissed off Vader, leading
Literally
to
about to say, piss
yeah,
off old veterans. That's just flip his shit.
yeah, Rip Rogers, Orton, Vader, all giving heat, whatever.
Stop doing flips, guys. Seriously.
I think you always have this fear when they enter the WWE machine that they might get, a little bit numbed, a little bit blunted, but he's not, and I don't think Adam Cole is either. They've both retained the kind of their indie style. They're obviously a bit better in terms of working cameras and stuff, which is something you always hear about with big big people that come from Japan, especially, and then come to NXT, and you got when people say, "Oh, Nakamura was in NXT for too long." Well, things like apparently it's because it took him a very long time to actually, fluidly learn how to play to a hard camera and things like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think
We've seen
and it gets a
backstage
bit
bits with.
lost. Yeah,
Oh, sorry, I was going to say we've seen backstage bits where Triple H talks to guys like Balor, for example, explaining where cameras are in position and where to look and then when the match is being filmed, where to look out for certain cameras, and which where your placement will be and where they'll likely be. It's a lot to take in for fucking wrestlers. It's very different from being in an indie show and just having to cater to an audience. But then you've got to fucking work out, how the home audience is going to relate to you as well.
Yeah, and you get the feeling like New Japan obviously do have some kind of hard camera, but they don't work to it in a similar fashion that WWE do.
No, it's more of a sport where they're kind of fixed as such, and they'll follow the action if it goes outside. But largely, it's the camera just follows the action, not the cameramen as such.
Yeah,
But there was stuff in this match I've never seen before. I mean, the spot I think everyone will be talking about is the fucking moonsault where Cole just kicks him point blank in the face while he's fucking doing it. It's like I know they pushed him to say Ricochet's like a fucking video game come to life, but it's like fucking Source Engine fucking.
I think you'll find
glitches. Like what the fuck.
That's the line, isn't it? So Morrow was like, Ricochet's like a human cheat code, and then Nigel, who obviously works in a bit more layman's terms, yes, Morrow, he's like a human video game. Yes, Nigel, that's what I said. He's a human cheat code.
I know what you said. I've played video games. I played Frogger and Centipede, and that one where they shoot people at war. I think it's called Shoot People at War.
And then I retired because I got hepatitis.
And it's gone sad.
Yeah. So I just want to say that the way Ricochet works these shows, it seems as though he always adds another big spot to these matches. Obviously, Velveteen Dream feud, I had that thing where he did the somersault out of the ring onto the ramp, which was just I still watch that, and I think
they showed that in the promo package as
well. They should be showing that in every single promo package he ever does in WWE. It is outstanding. But the thing he did to set up the last 630 when he jumped over the ropes, caught Cole on the apron, then hurricanranded him to the outside. That was superb, and obviously his 630 is just superb as well. So
I will only say this match was spectacular and excellent, but I think we should be savouring Ricochet in this kind of unfiltered setting as such. I think if he does get the call up to the main show, I think his moveset and his wrestling matches will largely be more restricted. Fingers crossed they don't, but
yeah,
similar
we'll
to
see.
Nakamura and stuff, it's just a telling time. But this was a great match, fantastic showcase from both lads, and I'm glad Ricochet's won a title in NXT, even though it was inevitable.
Following that was Kairi Sane winning the NXT Women's Championship. She beat Shayna Baszler. I thought this was fairly solid, actually. I like the old, Bret Piper, Bret Austin kind of finish with the,
the inescapable pinfall. No, despite the fact Baszler has basically fucking dominated her the entire time, the fact that Sane has managed to lock this pinfall and she can't break it and she just loses. I thought this was a decent match. Baszler's leaps and bounds from her inception, although she was impressive in Mae Young, the Mae Young Classic as well.
Yeah.
Surely she's moving up sooner rather than later.
Yeah,
it must be happening.
Pretty big fan of both of these girls, actually. I think Shayna. I think she's 38 years old. She's done good stuff in women's MMA. She was a very early pioneer of that before Gina Carano, and then obviously Ronda Rousey blew it up. So she's paid her dues there. I think she's had a really good run in NXT, and I actually think I don't think it would be impossible that she will go up and turn on Ronda initially, and we'll get a feud actually where Ronda might have some more longer form matches, because obviously the MMA gimmick kind of means that she should. This is going to sound funny, and we may be eating into talking about Ronda later, but she shouldn't squash Shayna. Whereas you'd think that in other people that she gets in the ring with, she just pretty much squash all of them.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you could also push the narrative to say Shayna's fucking really hench and she is fucking menacing. So, yeah, you could push that. Obviously, we'll talk about Ronda's match with Alexa. But yeah, no, I agree with that. I think that'd be a good thing. I didn't realise Shayna was that old. I thought she was our age. I didn't realise she was...
No, she's been around for a while, yeah.
But I have high hopes for her. I think she's easily the most menacing woman they've had in that fucking division for, I can't even recall anyone
I
as like
suppose.
terrifying as a
Yeah,
Asuka at the start, but that's more of a
Asuka was
you've
always
done fucked up.
she was a lot more tweenery though, wasn't she?
Yeah, exactly. And but whereas Baylor's character is just an outright bully who just out muscles and just fucking does whatever she feels like because who the fuck's gonna stop her? But I thought this was
Yeah.
back to this match. I thought this was just solid. Nothing too spectacular. Glad Sainz won the title again. It's an inevitability as such with credentials previously,
Mm,
but it was solid. Yeah.
mm. Yeah, agreed. And then the main event, which was supposed to be a triple threat, but Alistair Black was injured. I think he got injured getting crotched on a NXT house show.
It was a
I
house show.
believe.
I'm not actually sure what caused it, but they are
It
repeating
was
the
yeah.
Survivor Series 1999 angle of who attacked him in the parking lot.
Well, you mean the Hideo Itami angle?
Well, they kind of preluded to that one as Kevin Owens, but they never outright revealed who it was.
No,
So
I
I
wonder if they will
hope
with this one.
I hope they do this one.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. One thing that's been lost in this is that Matt
Oh, of
Riddle was
course. Yeah.
shown in the crowd as a new
Whoa!
NXT signing, and I couldn't be prouder or sadder because I'm never going to see him on the Indies again.
You'll see him at NXT. It's fine. You'll get to see him on the network for $9.99, Michael. He was wearing sandals with his suit as well. Some things never change, do they?
Yeah, well, that's him. He's a laid back bro. So
Bro.
I've got very high hopes of him. I have very high hopes of Keith Lee as well. So we'll be seeing those shortly. I think actually Riddle won't be on this week's taping schedule because I don't think he reports until the 4th of September. So got a
I
little
know
while yet.
Progress are either doing a very carny thing or they are being truthful and saying that his last indie date is late September, which I don't.
They are doing the Wembley Arena on the 30th of September, and yeah, are you referring to people like David Bixenban moaning that well he's real in he's real last indie appearance was for GCW, not for Progress are like a sponsored indie. That's not a real indie.
Oh, I thought they were being sorry. Then I've misinterpreted that entirely. What a fucking
Hmm.
journalist. I thought he was whinging that because of his no compete clause, he wouldn't be in. He wouldn't be at Progress at the end of September.
No,
Not.
he's been announced.
It's not an independent company. Yeah.
He's been announced. It has been announced that his last inverted commas indie appearance will be at Progress on the 30th of September.
His last for Dave, his for the correct terminology, his last non WWE event is definitely Progress. I take everything back I said about
Seems like
Progress. There's nothing carny about it. He's literally someone taking umbrage with the terminology used, which is typical of someone who works for Gawker Media or did work for Gawker Media.
well, there we go. So yeah,
What you gonna do, David Bixaban, when Hulk Hogan and his racist outburst runs wild on you?
I'm sorry I got caught, brother. Don't. My advice to you, brother, is if you're gonna be racist, brother, don't get recorded, brother. So the main event of Takeover Brooklyn 4 was Tommaso Ciampa defeating Johnny Gargano in a last man standing match for the NXT Championship. This was again, I think this was good.
I thought
In
this was
fact, it was
great.
great. It was great. Yeah. There's a lot being said about the finish. I think the finish was obviously botched in that there was supposed to be a bit more carnage, and I think he was supposed to kind of go through because it was an obvious setup for tables and stuff, and he kind of just did the knee and then ran into the box and then kind of it just flopped over. So I think the whole dislocated knee thing was to try and sell the fact that he was injured and couldn't stand up.
I think that was maybe the intended bit, to be brutally honest. I
I
think
don't think it was.
because the focus was on him kicking him and then eventually kneeing him in the face. So I think that might have done it. I mean, the story of this match is literally Gargano had this match won, but he gave in to his to his dark side as such, and it cost him everything.
Yeah.
It's a good wrestling match when you know that the ending is the intended ending. Really bad terminology there, but it's the intended ending. It leaves you miserable, but that's what's supposed to happen.
For
There's
a
no
last man standing match, it was outstanding.
I've never seen a spot like that. I mean, someone will prove me wrong as such. But it's just heartbreaking to see, like, both guys are knocked out, and then Ciampa just flips, falls down, and by like the fucking Occam, no, not Occam's razor, because of he's been what the fuck is it in media? What's it when you introduce something and then you plan to use it later on? Something. Fuck's sake!
I know what you mean,
know
but
you do know what I mean.
Yeah, but that ruined it for me. I didn't like the fact that they did the spot earlier and then repeated it. I think it would have been a bit more impactful if if they'd just done it for the finish.
Yeah, I suppose. But I thought it was a very solid match. I don't know where it ranks out of all their previous ones, though. I still think the original TakeOver match at Mania, the whatever show that was, what was that? New Orleans. I think that's the best. I think that's been the best match.
That was the unsanctioned one, right?
That's the one, yeah.
Then we had a street fight,
which was supposed to be a last man standing until WWE said that they were doing it. It was like, oh well, okay.
Yeah, this was great. I'm not sure. I think they need to stay away from each other now for a very long time.
Yeah, until Mania next year.
Yeah, I'd imagine they'll probably do something along the lines of Gargano will beat him on a taping in a non-title match or whatever, and then they'll blow off the feud and someone will win it 3-2 or whatever. But whatever, and one of them will come up.
It is,
Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. Or both. They could put them on separate brands and say, we can't have them both on NXT anymore. One of them's got to go on Raw. One of them's got to go SmackDown.
Yeah, it was great. I really, really, really love Tommaso Ciampa. He's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely despicable. Probably the best booked heel in WWE.
I mean, the fact that they did that whole thing once. So the first time when he came out with no music, and they obviously knew that time that he would definitely get booed and get called arsehole and whatever, and they knew that it would work because he was just this red hot heel. He's been able to carry it on every time he comes out. I think this is a case where even the smarky Brooklyn crowd, they all love him because
there was chance for him.
Of course, but they still played along and booed him, which we can get into for other stuff later. But
exactly, I think it's a sign of respect. It's old school mentality of if you really want a heel to feel appreciated, you fucking give him the boo of a lifetime. You make him feel like a piece of shit because that's what he wants. It's a bit more muddled nowadays because fans are too smart, but like us. But no, it was despicable. I thought it was a really good match, really good way to end the show. Absolutely miserable the result. I really wanted Gargano to win, but that's the big difference between NXT and WWE. When things go sour, you're like, oh fuck, I can't believe that really happened. And then you remember, oh, it's just a wrestling show. It's it will probably get better because of the way the show's booked. Whereas WWE, most of the time, it's just like, well, it's going to get worse now, so let's get on with the ride.
Agreed. And that brings an end to our NXT segment. Cool. So, we move on to SummerSlam. And, as always, I'd like it if you could run us through the pre-show.
I shall do so. Can I also say WWE, 2-hour pre-show. I had to go up at 5 o'clock in the morning for this. Get fucked. Seriously. 2 hours for this.
That's why I don't watch them.
I know, I can't blame you. And I also want to say, WWE, if you're showing WWE.com exclusive clips on the network, that's not exclusive. It's getting quite fucking tedious.
Who sponsored the pre-show?
You mean my bollocks or...
Hey? I mean, who sponsored it? It's always got a sponsor. It's always got a sponsor, isn't it?
I don't know. I made up a good one this month. I guess it's a pre-show main event one though.
Okay. Go.
We have 2 backstage promos prior to prior to the first match. One of them's with New Day, which is kind of like an Instagram rip-off, which says they're going to win their 5th title. That would have been over there. It wouldn't be tonight. And I've put at the 37-minute mark, we have a backstage promo with Rusev, Lana, and Aiden English. Rusev tells English to stay behind. Your first match of the pre-show is Andrade Cien Almas and Zelina Vega versus Rusev and Lana. As sad that Rusev has gone from a WWE Championship match to curtain jerking in a half-filled arena.
A good WWE Championship match too.
As well, yeah. It's like, pal, that was a fantastic match. I'm going to reward you by doing the polar opposite of what everyone else expects. What have we got? Lad start almost runs off, leading into a tranquilo spot, and then Rusev and Lana start posing. Rusev has the advantage, but Vega provides a distraction for then almost to take the advantage. Crowd is firmly behind Rusev and Lana. Vega takes out Lana to prevent what feels like a hot tag for Lana. Crowd is still quite heated, or whatever crowd is actually in the building. Lana gets the hot tag and wipes out Vega, which isn't half bad. I still think Lana is actually improving quite substantially as a wrestler, so that's,
Yep, agreed.
Things in roundabouts. Vega dodges in the corner, so Lana hits the middle turnbuckle, your favourite spot. Or is it bottom turnbuckle you can't stand?
Bottom one.
Bottom one.
Really annoys me.
A little bit higher than normal. Runs into a kick. CM provides 2 distractions. First one fails. Second one leads to a roll-up with the ropes for the win. It's an okay mixed tag match, but it felt like it was made purely for television.
I see.
Our panel introduces Jerry Lawler. I feel really sad. He looks okay, though.
Yeah.
About the halfway point, so you can tell how little was happening on pre-show, Charlie has an interview with Paul Heyman. Charlie asks a question about the pepper spray shenanigans from the previous Raw. He hypes up Lesnar as a future UFC champion, summarizes the match as a match of Lesnar's 2 moves of doom, and that Lesnar is winning. And then we have another promo with all 3 GMs, and I've had to point out the 3 GMs are Paige, Angle, and Drake Maverick, not William Regal. They go through the whole card. Constable Corbin turns up. He calls Drake short, so all the material they had for Big Cass is now being plugged into Corbin. Paige still calls him a constable, and Drake says constables aren't even relevant in the UK anymore, so he skulks off.
Does she say constable?
The way she pronounces it in her accent is constable. There's a distinct U in there that obviously no one's picked up. And I've also put thanks UK media. Every time I write down his full title, I immediately go for Comrade Corbin.
Oh yeah, well,
completely different thing altogether.
Let's not explain Jeremy Corbin. No.
Second match of the pre-show is for the WWE Cruiserweight Championship, which is Drew Gulak, who comes out dressed as Apollo in Rocky IV, versus Cedric Alexander. This was a decent match, to put it bluntly. It was unusual because there was a load of rest spots. There were some really sloppy bits as well, which I'm trying to spot on my notes, but I can't actually find it. Oh, there's one there. Gulak still in charge at the start. There's rest spots, then a Goro Guerrero special with a neck hang. Cedric finally escapes, and it takes so much effort to hit a flatliner from the outside of the ring. There's a sloppy spot where Cedric hits a bulldog with follow-up punches, but Gulak doesn't land immediately and carries him slowly for the spot. So there's a weird bit where he's literally carrying him in the middle of the ring whilst he's getting bulldogged and then falls down really slowly to the floor.
I see.
The final sequence, which is really good, is a multitude of near falls, but Cedric gets the lucky 3 with a better pinfall. Cool. We get a backstage segment with Samoa Joe afterwards. Joe is an awesome interview with the panel. I really hope his match is a step up from the last big match Joe had on pay-per-view, which was with Roman, I think. Is that the last match Joe had on pay-per-view?
Yes.
Bad one. We'll get to it. I was going to say about AJ's wife being mentioned so extensively.
Wendy,
and his little daughter, but we'll get to that. The pre-show main event is obviously sponsored by Wrestle Twitter, which is far more entertaining 95% of the time than New Japan, WWE, NXT, and all the indies. Seriously,
wrestling Twitter is just ridiculous.
More heels, more twists and turns. They really should just book the fucking shows like Wrestle Twitter. Yes. And of course, it's between the Revival and the B Team. I'll go through this quick. Bo Sales an early leg injury from a corkscrew. Revival hit a shatter machine very early to Axel. Revival hit the elevated missile drop kick for 3 2 counts. Bo is in the match for a while. Axel was working for a hot tag. It's thus far been the most stereotypical WWE tag match imaginable. Good thing Revival are good at wrestling, but it's so formulaic you can actually set your watch to it. Axel gets the hot tag, although the crowd don't really react until Axel shouts at them. Axel tries a perfect plex. Dawson rolls up into a roll-up for a 4, but the referee's distracted. Then Bo knocks into the pin, allowing Axel for the win. Match was simplistic as fuck, and as Lawler said on the follow-up panel to Booker, did you expect it to be good? 20 minutes of pre-show remain. We actually see Ronda with her fuckload of mascara on. Not even sure if we're allowed to criticise women's appearances anymore. I'm so confused. Alexa throws a strop at Charlie backstage. Ooh. And the final segment is revealing that the IC title match is first, thus dashing my dreams that Lesnar and Roman would be getting out of the way first.
You thought that was a possibility?
Get it out of the way, let everyone get their fucking booing and shit out of the way, and then we can get to real matches. I didn't know about the WWE title match going the way it would, though, so in which case it was probably the completely right decision.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's probably your best pre-show segment you've done.
24 episodes it's taken to get good.
Oh, wow. Get good. Yeah.
Get good.
Cool. Well, it sounds good. Am I going to go and watch it on the network? No. But
Fuck no, you're not. No.
Right, well, main card then. So, as you just said, opening contest, Intercontinental Championship. Dolph Ziggler defending against Seth Rollins. But the big story was obviously that Dolph has got McIntyre and Seth has brought back Dean Ambrose from the gym, by the looks of it.
I was literally about to say, dem Dean and Seth pups and dem Dean arms.
Yeah, he's well swole. He's bare swole, yeah.
What a unit.
So, my inner kind of cynical booker inside me tells me that it's very clear that Drew McIntyre is going to get a big spotlight soon, probably at the expense of Dolph Ziggler, because obviously Dean's music hit and Seth came out, and then they both walked to. Sorry, Dean came out to his theme, stopped at the ramp, and then they made their way to the ring with Seth's theme. And then Ziggler came out, his theme stopped, and then Drew came out, and they went to the ring with Drew's theme, and Drew's got his gear on, even though he's seconding him. And I just thought to myself, if anyone's watching this, you'd think it was Drew McIntyre who was going to be against Seth. But anyway, I digress. It just looked to me like they're prepping him for these kind of moments, and not, I think that would be a good move, and I think he's got some very big star potential, because basically he's big, he's white, and he's got rid of most of his jock accent, so now Vince probably likes him.
Yeah, as long as Vince doesn't big him up again like last time, which basically just fucking cut his legs right off under him, then I think he's got a chance.
Yeah, so early doors, Dean was getting in Drew's face. I just thought to myself, there's some really good feuds. Like, there's a good month or two of keeping these four busy just out of this whole dynamic alone. As long as no more Seth and Dolph, I think we'll be fine.
Surely this is the
final run it calls, yeah.
Yeah, this is surely, especially considering what happened on Raw. This must be this is the end of this feud.
Yeah, so they actually start a match, and we stop talking about who's on the outside of the ring. It was quite a slow start, I thought, but I think they're just building and building. Obviously, there's a few headlock spots early on. I've written in my notes here. I was kind of thinking, I'm hoping this is just them building to what will be a good frantic finish. And yeah, it did pick up. There's a lot of reversals.
It did crescendo.
It did. Yeah, certainly. That inverted superplex, and that was wonderful, and it quite rightly garnered a standing ovation from the crowd and a "This is awesome" chant. And then we got Drew and Dean then started to fight each other. There was a zigzag. Seth kicked out. Seth managed to get busted open somehow. I still have no idea how he did it.
I'm gonna have to try and go through my notes. He did get cut. One steps that was AJ, so not sure where that happened.
Yeah, Rollins with a really great show of just how strong he is, picking up Dolph. I think he caught him from a spot and then put him onto a powerbomb position and buckle bombed him. McIntyre tries to interfere. Dean gets his dirty deeds in, and this leads to a stomp, or a curb stomp, as it once
I believe it's called the Kingslayer now.
Is it called the Kingslayer? What's the knee? What's the knee called?
Oh God, ripcord knee.
Ripcord knee, yeah. There you go.
I called knee, something like that. I'm like,
what? It's a ripcord knee. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so Rollins hits the stomp and wins the IC title via pinfall. 22 minutes on the nose. This was really, really, really good.
Yeah, I said some of the spots were absolutely amazing in this match. The inverted superplex being probably one of them. I mean, it was followed up by. Did you mention it was followed up by a bloody Sunday? I'm trying to think what the fuck that move's actually really supposed to be called, but it was just like Jesus Christ.
Yeah, yeah. No, it was really really good. Yeah,
Definitely better than
there's
last. I was gonna say better than last match, although that wouldn't be much of an accomplishment.
yeah, which is I'm kind of glad about that actually because I mean they were visibly annoyed at how their last match went. So they've obviously got 20, 22 minutes here, and they're both capable of really good matches and really good wrestling. So yeah,
Yeah, exactly that.
I was really pleased with this. I don't know where. I'll be honest with you. I think Dolph has got. I think there's a good chance that he's gonna slip away again. Because as I mentioned earlier, I think Drew's probably gonna take over his bit of spotlight and maybe even get a run with the IC belt eventually. Who knows? Obviously, Dean's a big deal. Seth's a big deal. Seth's got the IC title, but I still think eventually he might be more main event scene, and Dean may as well. You never know. We can discuss ideas or thoughts we've had on that later.
I feel very optimistic about it too.
Yeah, I
As
do. Yeah,
I put in my notes, I think all four hopefully will move on to even bigger things. Even though this has actually been, minus the hiccup of Extreme Rules, it's actually been quite a decent feud with some very good matches.
yeah,
So fingers crossed. Again, I'm still got a bit of a soft spot for Dolph, so I hope he doesn't just get completely shit canned as like basically making way for Drew. But
yeah.
I think well, we'll get to what happens on Raw and stuff. But I feel very optimistic,
Mm,
which means my hopes should be dashed at some point,
yeah.
considering who's actually booking these shows.
Mm. Yeah, no, this was great. Great start to the card. Right, yeah. So next up was the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. Before that, we had a couple of segments. So we had a 2K19 trailer, which was pimping the Ronda Rousey pre-order bonus, whatever you call it.
Not pre-ordered yet. Probably will because I'm a pleb, but definitely
We'll
pre-ordered
see.
Fire Pro on PS4.
Really, really liked the trailer actually because it had like her talking to Piper. He's like, "Oh, God, you're doing me proud, kid." And she's like, "Oh, well, yeah, I did it for you." And it's like, "Oh, I thought, oh." And she had his jacket, and obviously her gear is influenced by Piper. I thought it was pretty neat. This was followed up by a Bella's promo.
Primo.
So I've put in my notes. I said, "Why the hell is there a Bella's promo?" And then I put, "Oh, Evolution." So
Oh.
they're obviously back to get involved in that, and some rumors would suggest that it's going to be Ronda Rousey against Nikki Bella as one of the main events. So
I've said they're here to hype their own products and they're here to see Ronda. He'll turn so obvious it's viewable from space.
well, quite
But
possibly.
but
Mm.
I think they'd be mad not to do the match, considering that the web. Did you see the web traffic from Rover?
Oh, what when they said that Nikki Bella and Ronda Rousey had very similar Google trends?
Yeah, that'd be absolutely insane not to do the match now. Even although the wrestling quality probably not be as substantially good as Ronda's previous efforts, but I would love to be proven wrong on that.
Mm.
Considering this year I've basically gone fucking cataclysmically wrong about Ronda Rousey's WWE career thus far.
Mm. Right, so next match SmackDown Tag Team Championship. The Bludgeon Brothers defending against the New Day. The New Day had won a tournament to to declare the number one contenders for the Bludgeon Brothers Tag Team Championships. And this, I didn't find this incredibly memorable. I don't know why.
I thought it was quite basic, really.
Yeah, it was. I didn't think it was a bad match. There were some decent spots in there. The finish is shit.
Yeah, this was obviously to build up to a second match. Obviously, that second match took place on SmackDown, and I don't think it was supposed to take place as quickly as it was going to.
Mm.
I completely agree. I didn't realize this was going to be the fucking first of a few. Actually, it's first of two. DQ, fuck you, Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Matches.
So the New Day win via DQ at 9 minutes 45. Bludgeon
Use the
Brothers
mallet.
obviously. retain. Yeah, it's use of. He just went, oh fuck this, and went and got his mallet and hit him. And then they did the whole thing where Luke Harper comes over, oh, and takes the mallet off him, and he's like, oh, he's Luke Harper's seen sense, and obviously Harper turns around and waffles someone with the mallet as well, and yeah, it left the finish left a sour taste considering they did this like 3 or 4 week fucking tournament to build up a challenger. Obviously, I'm assuming before any kind of injury or whatnot. I think Rowan injured. Is that the
Rowan is injured apparently? Well, I think he is injured.
Yeah, I'm assuming this was supposed to move on to a Hell in a Cell match at the next pay-per-view.
Probably
that was my assumption. Yeah,
that's not a disservice to both teams. It's just that fucking pay-per-view is so formulaic at this point. I've kind of got sick to death of those matches. It's like, oh, we've got to have a DQ match at SummerSlam because the next pay-per-view on is Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, and I've just put as a final note that we can finish on this match. It's just in the network era, this is another match where a big pay-per-view is used to further a feud and to build story points for a feud instead of, blow it off.
To repeat an old quote of myself, how very Impact of WWE.
Well, yeah. Indeed.
Did you enjoy our next segment, which was seeing Jon Stewart and his boy in the crowd?
So there was a Total Divas advert, which further made me realise why I don't watch Total Divas. But whatever, if you watch it, great. I'm sure it's entertaining. I just can't. It just looks worse. The scripting of that looks worse than some of the scripting on fucking SmackDown and Raw. So I was
gonna say Gordon Ramsay's new series. I've watched an episode of that. Jesus Christ! Wake up, big boy.
And then yes, as you mentioned, next thing on my notes is Jon Stewart is shown in the crowd. Remember when he ruined SummerSlam that time?
He weren't that bad.
He ruined the main event.
He cost John Cena his record-equaling championship.
Yeah,
Brad booed him as well, didn't they? I didn't realise.
Jon Stewart. Yeah, because he's Jon Stewart. What's he doing that for?
I thought New York likes Jon Stewart.
They do, but he's not a wrestler. What? And he had no right getting involved.
Oh, but that crowd doesn't remember him being there. That was like 3 years ago.
Oh God! Next match. Braun Strowman against Kevin Owens. If Kevin Owens wins, he gets Braun Strowman's Money in the Bank briefcase and contract. Owens was sporting a Money in the Bank themed gear for this match. I thought was pretty nifty. But anyway, let's just cut to it. This match went less than 2 minutes. Braun wins via squash or pinfall with his running power slam. Owens basically took 3 really big bumps for him, 2 big shoulder tackles where he just flipped out on the outside, and then a choke slam to the ramp, and then he took the power slam and he lost, and it was just a massive squash. The promo package for this lasted about 4 or 5 minutes, and the match itself was under 2. Braun retains his Money in the Bank briefcase. I don't know if... Oh, well, fuck knows what this is. What does this mean for Kevin Owens? I've got no idea, but...
to go back to a previous point in another episode where I think it might have been Money in the Bank or Extreme Rules, where it's like, he keeps taking these massive bumps. Surely he's getting rewarded at some point, and it's like...
Well, that's what you'd think.
No! Nope. Pal, can you keep doing all the wacky shit? Keep falling off things.
Not happy with this use of Kevin Owens, I'll be honest with you.
I've put a squash on the second ever Universal Champion. That's a very bitter pill to swallow.
Yeah, it seems.
I get why they did it. I get why they did it, because no offense, from the results of this match, it's like, well, Braun's definitely getting involved in the main event.
Well, yeah. And also, I suppose this card is... I mean, the main card alone is 10 matches, right? So some of these have to be quick, and this isn't the first one. But, yeah.
That's the other thing as well I wanted to point out. You know your product... I mean, they beat us into the ground where it's like a 4-hour SummerSlam looks... Oh, that's not too bad. Whereas I think any other... I mean, I've been watching fucking WWE pay-per-views from 2007. It's like SummerSlam's 2 hours and 40 minutes, and there's filler in it, and you're like, oh my God, I don't have to spend half the afternoon watching it. I don't have to plan my entire fucking life around this fucking show. This was obviously just a sort of a piss break. But
Yeah.
again, going back to the earlier point, it's very sad state to see Kevin Owens treated this way.
Yeah, I'm hoping something comes out of it. I really do, but we'll see, I guess. Right, well, let's move on to the SmackDown Women's Championship match. Carmella defending against Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair. It was supposed to be Becky Lynch, but Charlotte Flair beat Carmella non-title match on SmackDown to get herself into it, which irked Becky Lynch. But more on that in a moment. This was, I thought, pretty decent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. My main point of contention was I've realised who Carmella sounds like when she talks during the match.
Who's that?
You know, in fucking South Park where Russell Crowe's fighting around the world, and people recognise him, and he goes, "Oh my God, Russell Crowe! Oh my God, I've never seen a celebrity before." And I'm like, "That's her voice." Oh shit, she sounds like Russell Crowe.
Oh right, well there you go.
So yeah,
I think I know what you mean, but I thought you was gonna say she sounded like Tagger, but whatever.
what puts a gun to his head because he can't stand to be in the WWE locker room anymore. I thought this match was okay, but it was sloppy.
Yeah.
I'm very aware of what we can and can't say about women's matches.
Well, whatever. It's just I thought it was okay. It was decent. I was kind of watching it, obviously hoping Becky would win. I see the reason for the finish and the booking and whatnot. So obviously Charlotte wins the match via pinfall. She hit a natural selection on Becky, who was in the middle of a disarm her on Carmella. Charlotte wins her. How many titles has she won now? 7. Jesus. So she's won 7 titles. I think this is her second SmackDown Women's title.
You're fucked when you're starting to lose track. And bear in mind, she's only been on main roster for 3 years. Not even that. Is it 3?
3 or 4 years, yeah. Jeez. Yeah, so this was okay. I thought this will probably be Carmella's best ever match in her career. I don't think she was terrible. It was very obvious when they chuck her out and they let Becky and Charlotte work, you know.
I was gonna. I feel like a fucking idiot because it's like, there's been multitude of episodes where I'm like, oh, but I saw Carmella in NXT and she had a good match, and it was like nothing of her title reign has been remarkable. It's just literally been the standard definition chicken shit heel champion somehow scrapes a win, toppled with increasingly volatilely shit wrestling matches. This was all right, but your match is fucked when they throw her out the ring, and it's like, okay, let's let the real women have her actual wrestling match.
Remember when they used to book Seth like this, but then Seth would put in really good matches?
Yes, yeah, that's what was so funny, because it's like, you're going to book him like this, but people will know he's a good wrestler. Similar to Joe, ironically, with his match with Reigns. It's like, oh, let's have him wrestle like a slow moving fucking monster heel, and it's like, guys, we've seen fucking Impacts. We've seen him have matches with Kurt Angle, which tore down the fucking house. He had a triple threat match with Christopher Daniels and AJ Styles that blew the fucking roof off, if I remember. It's like, we know the guy can fucking wrestle. You can't just pretend as if like he's a completely different fucking thing now.
Yeah.
But the match was okay. The aftermath is what everyone's going to be talking about.
Yeah. So, there's a couple of good spots in the match. They all get their moves on. Carmella gets her heat.
I was going to say, Carmella, to her credit, hits a really good suicide dive to Becky.
Yeah, I didn't think she was terrible in it. I just think that they obviously know her limitations, and they booked the match.
No, that's not me pandering as such. It's just it really was a good suicide dive. And what was more hilarious was Flair hits a corkscrew, which hits absolutely no one, but both sell it anyway. And it's like,
no, but see her. So that was a kind of corkscrew moonsault. So she either does that but this is new. But she usually does a moonsault for this spot. Her moonsault is dreadful.
I used to say, and I still stand by it, at least it's safe, because she's not going to crash land on someone's head. But on the other hand, it's basically her doing it's her doing a backflip and her landing on her feet. And it's like,
and then hitting them and then
Oh, no.
doing like a light slap on their chest. That's the move.
I think I need to be a bit more harsher. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's much better for the wrestler in question who's actually receiving the move to not be fucking completely clumped in the fucking face with her boots. But on the other hand, the move does not look. It's like kayfabe shattering because it's like she's literally doing a backflip and landing on her feet, which is athletically, it's athletically very impressive. But on the other hand, you show anyone else that fucking move and they'll be like, okay, she's done a backflip and she hasn't touched anyone, and they're all down. Okay.
Yeah. So match ends.
Oh, I was going to make a joke. I won't. Sorry.
You can make a joke if you want.
I was going to say something to get off my chest.
Can we just say it? Charlotte obviously went out. No, so she was out injured because she had a problem with her breast implants. I think she had a leaking one, or they were broken, or whatever. So obviously that's fairly serious. She went away and had that fixed up. She's got ginormo tits. They're huge.
Oh my god.
They're huge.
God. Reese, have we not learned anything from Wrestle Twitter? You can't do this anymore.
Is it not humongously noticeable though? Do you not notice it?
You can't criticize anything anymore, because what they will do is completely.
I'm not criticizing.
They'll completely. No. They'll completely change the narrative, and they'll, everyone will shit can you and go like, "Oh my god, I can't believe how you're treating blah this way. Oh my god, guys, seriously, I can't believe how badly you're treating it." And then you cut the Alan Partridge promo saying you are a very attractive woman. And then
I believe the term was exceedingly attractive woman.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. Oh, seriously, get fucked, WWE.
Oh, whatever.
Be a star. Get fucked.
Right. Okay. So we're going to move on to a stretch of
that bit.
Yes, we will. We're going to move on to a stretch of fairly lengthy, good matches. Yeah.
I was gonna say we actually didn't talk about the heel turn.
Oh yeah, of course. So obviously the match ends with Charlotte winning. Becky celebrates.
Crowd boos. You have to.
Crowd boos. Crowd boos because everyone wants Becky to win.
Yep.
And Becky kind of congratulates her, but then heel turns and beats up Charlotte.
I don't know. I don't know, Dave. I didn't know if it was a heel turn. Well, I mean, I don't know if it was a heel turn, but
oh fucking hell. Anyway,
it's a fuck, guys. Just because the commentators and the production team treat it as a devastating moment for Flair, it is definitely a heel turn.
Of course, it's a heel turn. It was confirmed on the house show on Monday and on SmackDown. She's turned heel.
But did you notice they cut out on when they re-upload all their shit to YouTube? They cut out the bit where she mentions about how the crowd doesn't fucking appreciate her. They actually cut that out.
Maybe they.
I don't know if that was done for time constraints or if it's literally a case of wow, I didn't realize inserting fucking Charlotte Flair into this match, which she had no right of being a part of, and actually winning the match and causing her best mate to turn on her would actually cause the crowd to embrace Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
God, I hope she gets that fucking title. She fully fucking deserves it. I've missed heel Becky. She was so good in NXT.
She was the first person to hold it, wasn't she?
In NXT? Oh, the SmackDown. Yes, she was. But that was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, the most recent brand split.
Yeah, but heel Becky, good stuff.
Yeah, I thought it was good. Yeah, good for the character. And certain people who have followed her career for all of her career suggest that her best work is as a heel, so we might have some good stuff coming.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Could be good news anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe her crowning achievement will be Evolution.
Well, let's hope, shall we? So, yes, a Becky Lynch heel turn to round off that match. It was pretty good. Well, the heel turn was. So, yeah, next match is the WWE Championship match between TNA legends AJ Styles and Samoa Joe. This was good. I thought it might have been a bit higher on the card, but alas, they needed to.
I'm glad you
space these things out. Yeah,
I was like, all right, we're in the final stretch. It'll be Samoa Joe, and then it's Ronda, and then it's Universal title. Little realising there's 2 other SmackDown matches that are actually ahead of this one. One of which I completely understand as such, but the other one, it's like, what? My first comment also says, hello, match I've made in every WWE game since 2006.
Yeah, that's true.
It's so
My creator wrestler Joe and Styles always have a
that's it.
feud.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll just play the music out loud until we got PS3, and it's like, oh, I can download their themes now onto a USB stick and then put it
Mm.
on. I also wanted to say as well, just before match starts, fair props to Joe because the material he's been given to work this storyline, Jesus, any other wrestler in any other context, this would flop. And the case in point has obviously been Claire Lynch. Bringing
Yeah.
in all the nonsense. It's like, member Crack Baby Reese, member
Oh god.
Serge Carter decking AJ out,
Mm.
member all of the nonsense.
I remember.
Remember, she's olive oil when she left the wrestling industry because Wrestle Twitter drove her away.
Yeah. No, you're right. I think his promos are really good actually.
That one at the start of the match as well, where he cuts it on Wendy and his little girl, is what a monster. I bet Vince is like, oh my god, this guy, Paul, this guy, he's a fucking animal.
So it's actually a bit similar to the Gargano Ciampa in that obviously the babyface in this is Styles, and he's a
It's
babyface
very
champion.
clear cut. It's
Yeah,
clear cut. It's humanly possible, but there is a contingent of fans who just love Joe regardless of what he does. He literally is reprehensible in the storyline, and again, it's just that he's been fantastic in this, and you also get TNA chant as well to start with.
Very loud TNA chant. Yeah.
Two things,
Well,
guys. One, it's like, what year is it? And two, it's Impact there. Come on, get with the program.
Yeah. But well, clearly, this match was always leading to a kind of AJ's gonna snap and he's gonna go too far and batter Joe, and the start kind of as you just said, when they're doing the introductions and Joe grabs the mic and then starts talking to AJ's wife, who's ringside with their young daughter, and that just builds up the heat as well. And it just, I thought the match was, because of that and because of the kind of way that they've done the emotionally charged storyline, I suppose you could say, it was very hard hitting, very emotionally charged, as I said.
Some of those
They
kicks
were really,
Joe does as
they were,
well.
they were really laying their moves into each other, which I think comes off really well. Obviously, these guys know each other like the back of their hands. They've been in some fantastic matches over the years, and obviously they're both older and wiser and probably a bit slower than they used to be, and that's fine. I didn't want to treat this match in a similar way to that I and others treated the Styles and Nakamura matches, hoping that we'd get like another Wrestle Kingdom caliber match. Learnt my lesson there. But anyway,
too bad.
yeah, so they were just hitting each other with really good moves. There's a lot of Uranagis, a lot of like neck breakers, back breakers, knees, elbows, kicks,
Stiff
reversals,
moves, things that hurt, things that really forearms as well.
Yeah, there's a new trend for Joe. They keep calling him a hybrid. Have you noticed that? They don't give people. Why do they give people nicknames and then just smash them into the ground? It's so annoying. It's like the Nia Jax irresistible force bollocks. It's like every other sentence is irresistible force. Every other fucking sentence in this match, he was being called a hybrid. So
Comes
stupid.
the big dog.
Oh
no, they got to put it on a t-shirt somehow, Reese.
Yeah. There was a big Styles clash, which I thought Joe nicked. I thought he'd nicked Joe.
Yeah, fuck. I looked. I was like, oh, that looks sore. But then it's like he's not got one of his legs is not wrapped round, and I think that gave him enough support so he could land on his fucking arms properly. And I was like, jeez, I didn't even think he. All credit to AJ. I didn't think he'd be able to fucking do it. I know it sounds ridiculous because he obviously does weight training, but I was like, there's no way he's going to be able to pick up Joe because he's bigger than. He's just literally taller than him, and he weighs more. But fair fuck.
Yeah.
He did a decent looking one, and it was part of good context for the story because the match had already been going on for quite some time at that point. So he was like, he couldn't actually do the full clash, which actually gives the move a bit more credentials as such. Because if he did it properly, he might have actually won it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So, yeah, I thought it was pretty good. It did heat up a little bit more. They started to get just a bit quicker and a bit harder. Joe makes his
So
comeback.
I
Yeah.
was going to say it's the power slam from the Irish Whip, and it's like I've never seen a power slam that quick ever. Even we've been seeing Orton doing them for years, and it's like it's one of his signatures. But Joe's one, it's like the whiplash of that thing was like, geez, it caught the crowd off by surprise how quick he was, and it only gets a 2.
Mm.
That's just before the
Yeah.
clash, if I remember according to notes. Sorry.
Just after, I believe.
Okay.
Actually, no, you might be right. Yeah, no, there was. I think it started to pick up towards the finish when AJ gets him in a calf crusher. Joe brutalizes his way out, very similar to the way Brock countered it actually when he had it on
Yeah,
Brock a little
grabs the
while
head
ago.
and just fucks
Yeah,
him, smashes him in the face.
reversed it into a coquina clutch. AJ gets out of that via the ropes. Styles goes to the top. Joe counters with an enziguri. Styles topples to the outside. That's when Joe throws him into the stairs and he busts him up a bit. And
Yeah,
then,
luckiest bit
yeah,
of a cut. I thought it was a blade job, but then thought, nah, he wouldn't risk it.
yeah, Joe grabs the microphone and taunts AJ and his family again. What does he say? What does he say to Wendy?
He said, "Daddy's not coming home, but don't worry, I'll be your new daddy." But I think he was supposed to address it to the little girl, but because he addressed it to Wendy, it gives it
She's
some
just
sort
sitting
of
there
like sexual
shaking. Yeah.
gives
She's
it some
shaking
sort
her
of sexual
family.
connotation because it's like, "I'll be your
Mm.
new daddy, Wendy," and it's like, oh Jesus. And then
Yeah.
AJ loses his fucking mind.
Yeah, so AJ snaps. He starts attacking Joe and other people around him, grabs a chair, hits Joe with the chair, and that brings a disqualification. So Samoa Joe wins via DQ. AJ Styles retains the title. Match went just under 23 minutes. And again, I was kind of annoyed. I was a little bit annoyed about the finish, but I thought the match was pretty. I really enjoyed the match anyway. I think it needed a better finish, but whatever. I think this is just what we get now in these kind of big matches on these big shows, you know?
I was going to say I thought the match ending didn't annoy me as much as the previous ones as well, where it's been a DQ finish, especially in the Nakamura feud. I thought the
Yeah.
imagery was really like absolutely stellar. I mean, AJ getting busted open is just a lucky like piece of fortune because I think it added to it so much where it's like he's literally been battered and bruised to the point where he's bleeding, and the image where you see him just lose his fucking marbles, where he starts fucking talking about his wife and kids, and I just thought for like ascending that feud, that's the perfect way to finish it. I was very
Yeah, I
happy with
like.
this match. I thought for an opening chapter compared to like the Nakamura one, even with the heel turn, which I think was the greatest Royal Rumble, this seems to be so much more advanced and much more entertaining.
Yeah.
And then you get the
Agreed.
little bit at the end where, or two things. One was that the crowds respond with a "Who's your daddy?" chant, which I don't think was the intended reaction. And the other thing is at the very end, AJ apologizes to Wendy and his daughter, which I thought was actually quite a sad little bit because his daughter's obviously
Well,
quite upset.
yeah.
Where she says, "Daddy, you're bleeding," and he's like, "Oh, it's all right, I'm fine." And goes for a
I'm
hug, and she's
sorry.
like,
I know, baby. I know, baby. It's like,
"I'm
yeah,
sorry."
so he stops attacking Joe because Wendy just looks at him and says, "Stop." And he stops and, "Your
This is like
daddy, you're
no.
bleeding."
This is like Vince's dream feud. It's like we're going to involve family, and it's going to, it's going to have all the family involved, and it's going to be a relatable storyline. AJ again, just oh, it's big. It's going to be one of those big what ifs of what if he just came like a bit earlier, and how far would he have gone? But this was very good. I'm looking forward to further clashes between these two. I imagine this is crescendoing towards a Hell in a Cell match, which I'm actually looking forward to if that's the case.
Yeah, AJ in a Hell in a Cell. That sounds quite fun. Yeah.
Of all the other matches that probably take place. But yeah, no, this was a good match.
Nice.
The ending did not piss me off as much as, say, the other DQ finish match, the tag team match.
Yeah, it was solid. I agree. Right then, so we go on a walk with Elias shortly after this, which was odd because he just slags off Brooklyn, and then his guitar's broken. So, lol.
Nothing really to talk about. No song.
Yeah,
Guitar breaks. Cut to black. Or fade to Miz.
yeah. We then see the Miz walking to Gorilla. He bumps into his old Miz Taraj, now known as the B Team, and they just say they're on Bryan's side, and that's what the B stands for. So that was a segment, I guess. It wasn't. It was
That was
fairly
a
entertaining.
happening. That was a thing that took place on this 4-hour show.
And then yeah, our next contest is probably the match, maybe the match I was looking forward to the most on this card.
Yeah, mine was. I haven't wrote notes. I wanted to watch this match with no distractions. This was the money. This is the money match. I wanted to watch this one from beginning to end and
Yeah, so
focus on it.
The Miz against Daniel Bryan, a match that's been in the making for a very long time, and a match that's obviously been part of other big feuds years and years ago. But whatever, they did reference that in the promo package, which
Yeah,
was a very
exactly.
cool package.
But the whole point of it is that these two guys have known each other for 8 years or whatever, but they've gone on such massive journeys since then, and they're two. I mean, you could say they're different people as such. Brian's obviously much more older, wiser, and he's like, he's tasted retirement and nearly been kicked out of wrestling entirely. While Miz has kind of tried to establish himself as like a fucking work rate champion, even if it's not the main event. But I thought the promo package was absolutely stellar. It was like, mwah, yes, this is what I want. I want the whole history. All it needed was Creed or
Oh god, yeah.
Limp Bizkit.
Limp Bizkit, yeah. Yeah. So, what did you think of this match?
I thought this was excellent.
Yeah,
The ending, the ending with the brass knuckles, it really annoyed me. But that's the intended result. The whole point of this match was it's the first chapter of something else that's going to take place. So of course they can't do a definitive finish as such. So
yeah,
I was completely fine with it. I thought it was absolutely excellent. I mean, I again going back to the other point, you have hopes for these matches and expectations, and it's like, yeah, they're probably not gonna. Not all matches can be Omega and Okada. They're not gonna fucking surpass it. But this was like, this was as good or as great or as excellent as I thought it would be. So thumbs up for both of these guys. I really fucking hope everyone watched this backstage and were like, holy shit, we've actually got a really big money feud, and it's actually paid off quite well. And we can get more matches out of these two, which it looks like it's definitely happening.
Oh, 100% going to continue. Well, sadly, it looks like they're going to get fucking Maurice and Brie involved in the next chapter, maybe.
My terrifying prediction of that 6-person tag team match with the kids and the wives is slowly coming to fruition.
Good God Almighty! I just thought this had a good story. I mean, they went nearly 24 minutes, right? And obviously there was this big thing about how Brian wanted to just get in the ring and punch him in the face.
Yeah,
they made you wait for that spot, and it was good. Yep. I liked the way they did that. There was just some good things where obviously, if people were to compare the two, or it's part of the package, how Miz is a safe worker, or that he doesn't respect his style and stuff. So Miz is obviously like, well, you know what, I can do a surfboard, and he puts a surfboard on Brian, and obviously the technical wizard of Brian reverses it and puts his own surfboard. They do the bit where Brian does the kicks, and then Miz is like, well, I do those kicks now, and he starts kicking him, but Brian obviously sort of no-sells it, or he's kind of like, you can't do it, this is my move, and he kind of like leans into it, and he's like, look, kick me, you can't hurt me. They just did some really good like spots like that, kind of like the Miz is saying, you know what, you're nothing special, and then Brian actually proves that actually he is a little bit special. I just thought it was good. I thought that it just ebbed and flowed really well. It didn't start off slow. It started off at a decent pace. It picked up and then it slowed down. And they both had times where they were laying in on each other and had control. And there was I just really enjoyed it. It was a really good pro wrestling match.
Did this live up to your expectations of what you expected this match to be, or
I actually thought no. See, I thought it was pretty spot on. I think, and I even think the finish. I can't even moan about the finish.
That's
people
what I mean.
would moan about that. Yeah,
I can understand people going, "That's I want a definitive finish now," as such. But it's like it's so obvious that they are booking more of these matches, and they can't just. I mean, you can point and go, well, the Gargano Ciampa feud did have a definitive winner, which was the face in the first match. But for this one, it's a little bit different because obviously it's WWE pay-per-views and you've still got weekly 2 hours to fill up as such. But
yeah,
I think it's just the purpose of this match was that bastard Miz. He's only had to use brass knucks and he's the victory's tainted. But on the other hand, it's like that's exactly what Miz would do. It's not it's exactly what his character would do.
Yeah, and I just think this is the first time since Brian's been back that he's been given like a 20+ minute match to
minus
get going.
I was going to say minus that rumble where he was in there for about 20 minutes or something.
Yeah, and I think he just looks great, and I think we're fans of the Miz, as we've mentioned on here quite a few times, and I thought he played his part perfectly. I think there is room for more. I don't quite know how this will progress. I do think there'll be a mixed tag element coming
I
eventually.
think there's 100% being a mix, as long as the both ladies are happy to wrestle. That's purely because both have new mothers, but. Yeah, no, thumbs up for me. This match was just fantastic.
It was great.
Would you say it's the best match of this card?
Oh, maybe.
Comparing it to,
Probably.
I mean, again, it's similar because AJ and Joe had a bit of a, finish where it was, fuck. But then that opening match was good as well for the Continental title. I would say this is best match.
Yeah, this was good. This was great. And just to say, the Miz did win via pinfall after he used brass knucks on a diving Bryan at 23:20. 23:30, sorry. I kind of loved it. It was great.
Yeah,
cool. We move on. So there was a big advert for this big Aussie showdown thing they're doing, Triple H against Taker, because everyone wants to see that again. Whatever.
Did you see the promo on Raw where Triple H comes out and it's like, WrestleMania 28, we said it was the end of an era. Well, folks, the era is back. And it's oh God. And Taker's had hip replacement surgery. Oh no.
Oh,
very interested. No. Very interested to see how this match goes because Taker's had 2 matches since he was retired last year at WrestleMania. One of which was 2 minutes 20 seconds. The other one was a house show casket match. So, wonder what Triple H will try and drag out of him, especially in Australia where they're going to be jet lagged as fuck and it's going to be hot. When is it? By the way, that match. When is that? And November, are we reviewing it? Are we going to review it?
We'll see about that.
See if anything else is taking place. I've got to get a haircut. I've got to return some videotapes.
Right, we move on. So Finn Balor against Baron Corbin. We do need a piss break at this point of the show.
I've literally put that. I said this is death spot. So
yeah, it is. And even for SummerSlam, fucking Corbin comes out wearing slacks and a pair of shoes. It's just
he's doing it to get heat only from you because it's like I know it drives that little limey bastard insane. I'm gonna wear fucking slacks.
Yeah,
I've literally put first note. It says in our ongoing dismantling of previous Universal Champions, Finn finds himself in a death spot with Corbin. Awesome. Yeah. And then we hear the heartbeat.
Oh God! So the Demon King Finn Balor is back with no build, no hype, and no point. To be perfectly honest, yeah. So the demon returns, and the demon wins, squashing Corbin, winning in 1 minute 35 via pinfall with a coup de grace. I'll be honest, I'm annoyed. This match annoys me. I don't like.
We have polar opposite opinions on this. I thought this was fantastic. So the reason I'll go for let's go for reasons why you don't like this match and I like this match. So why don't you like this match? Because it had no build.
It's got nothing to do with the match for me. It's more just the fact that I think it really highlights that they've got nothing for Finn Balor. And even the night after on Raw, they basically got rid of any notion that he has any claim to a Universal title match by just giving Reigns, using it as a kind of babyface move for Reigns to be a fighting champion. Whatever that, I think that's. Don't get me wrong, I think that's a good bit of booking, but whatever. But Finn Balor. Finn Balor used the only thing that made Finn Balor really special was the fact that he had the demon in the locker, and it's just been used in a throwaway 90-second match against someone who doesn't even wear fucking gear to the ring, who he beat on Raw last week already. It just annoyed me. I just don't think it was worthwhile doing it.
I think this match was obviously setting up that Raw match, and they kind of not wrote themselves into a corner, but the alternative is to literally have Balor and Corbin have the exact same match they had on Raw and previous pay-per-view, which crowd is just going to shit on.
Well, here's an idea. Don't put the match on the card.
I know, but Balor and Corbin have got to have paydays.
Why? Why do they have to have paydays?
Because Balor wants to buy that Cloud City Lego set, and his current salary doesn't allow it. And Corbin needs to go to Burton's to buy a new waistcoat. But I thought this was good. In fact, I thought it was fucking great. I thought it's typical WWE where they'll be like, well, anything can happen in the WWE, pal. So it's like you can't go away for a piss break because for all you know, Balor might break out the demon, and it's like get that Venom heat because that's coming out next month or whenever. And it's like, and the best thing about it is like Balor's still saved as such because it's like even though him with that war paint is like, well, could go either way, as proven on Raw. You know, he might not necessarily win, but it's like if he actually breaks out the Demon King, nothing can fucking stop him.
So why didn't he break out the demon then?
I don't know.
Because it's bollocks. They don't think about it.
A show, Reese. You've got to keep him strong. It's like bringing out Taker every week. It just doesn't work. You've got to savour it.
Yeah, but it did work years ago when he could actually do it. Now he can't.
Do you mean
Balor's not in his 50s?
No, but he's still in his mid-30s, and you've got to savour it, because once you've ruined it, then really, what does he have left? He's just a 195-pound man on Raw.
The fact that they've used it against Baron Corbin with no build says to me that it's been ruined already. Yeah, that's just my opinion.
It's not like Corbin took him to like a 25-minute fucking squash or clinic where it's like Corbin's holding his own against the Demon King. He literally beat him in 90 seconds. I don't think Corbin hit a single move. In fact, the moment he comes out in the paint, Corbin's like, "What on earth's going on? Why am I wrestling this?"
He doesn't hit a single move.
That's what I mean. That's what keeps him strong. Corbin is regal at this point. He's just a base. He's a glorified authority figure who shouldn't be wrestling. But Balor looks strong. It helped his Raw match because it's like, holy shit, if he actually does break this out against Roman probably won't be able to beat him. And it did set up that really good match on Raw. So this got a thumbs up for me. I thought this was good. Obviously, it did go into Raw. It did take away Balor's thing that he's been asking about for the last 2 or 3 years with regards to a rematch. But I remain optimistic. I can't wait to be proven wrong when they completely squander him and pack him off to 205 Live.
Well, I respectfully disagree, and I will agree to disagree. I think that's where we are. Right, let's move on.
Oh god, more war paint.
Well, US title match, Nakamura defending against Jeff Hardy. I'll be honest, I was fatiguing as fuck.
This is the literal death spot. The crowd are obviously the crowd were like ready for a quick break with Corbin and Balor, but they didn't get the chance because they were marking out to Balor's grand return as the Demon King, and this match by proxy is now the piss break, and it shows.
Yeah, Nakamura got a fairly big pop. He always goes down well in Brooklyn.
Smart
City, baby. Yeah, no, Jeff even did the delete hand thing to try and get some cheers, which did work, to be fair. Yeah, this was all right. My notes even here say this match has really passed me by. I've kind of zoned out watching it.
There is one really impressive spot in this match, which is made even more hilarious from Jeff's interviews prior to this match.
You mean when he decimates his lower back by doing a swanton on the apron?
Like, guys, I won't hit the senton bomb anymore because it's like my back is fusing together. I'll only break it out for special matches. And it's like this match instantly, I'm going to do it on the fucking apron because I'm an idiot. And it's like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Is that what led to the finish? It was, wasn't it?
I imagine so. My note says, second twist of fate. Jeff climbs and Shinsuke rolls half under the ropes. Jeff tries a swanton anyway and fucking dies. Heel kick to the back of the head. A Kinshasa and Nakamura retains. So it must have been it must have been quick after that if it wasn't. This match was it's literally a one-spot match, which is quite a shame considering who's in this match.
Yeah, it went 11 minutes and they got their spots in, I guess. And Nakamura gets a fairly high-profile win. I've just kind of put on my thing, whatever. Oh yeah, Orton's music hits. Orton comes down to the ring. Orton decides not to attack Jeff Hardy as he lays there, and then he walks away. His SummerSlam contribution was walking to the ring and then walking away from the ring. Very odd.
Easy money.
Very easy money. Talking of easy money, the Raw Women's Championship match. Alexa Bliss defending against Ronda Rousey. Rousey going for her first world title. I've put here, this is another match I was actually looking forward to a little bit.
I was going to say it's a second attempt because she had Nia previous as well.
Yeah. So Natalia comes out first. She's wearing Jim the Anvil Neidhart's jacket, who sadly passed away recently, which is another sad death in the wrestling world.
Yeah, it's put on Twitter. That picture of the Hart Foundation from '97 is just getting progressively more and more tragic. One left. That's absolutely dreadful that has happened.
So we'll cut to the chase a little bit, like the match did, I guess. But Ronda wins the Raw Women's title via submission, via an armbar, in 4 minutes. It was, bar I think 2 or 3 strikes that Bliss got in, a complete squash. The first 2 minutes of this 4-minute match was Bliss running away from Rousey.
Stalling, I was going to say.
Yes, stalling, playing the coward. And then Rousey just hits her with some really hard, cool-looking judo throw type stuff, the odd suplex. There was a great bit when the camera really catches, so Rousey's got her up on her shoulders, and you can see she turns around and goes, "Ready?" And then hits this big judo slam thing, and Coach actually covers for her, going, "Oh my god, she's so confident. She's actually said, 'Are you ready for me to slam you?'" It's like, I thought that was quite funny. It was kind of easy for Ronda. She just slammed her around a lot. She even did a thing where she sat on the floor with her back to Bliss with her eyes closed. I thought it was great, yeah. And Bliss comes in, puts her in a chokehold, and Ronda no-sells it. And that was, and then that just kind of, she just tortured her for 2 minutes, and then did the submission, the armbar. She kind of played to the crowd. "Oh, do you want me to do the armbar? Yeah, that kind of thing."
She's getting good at being confident, isn't she? In terms of
I think she's gonna be something good. But I think her future and how well she does for the next couple of months all depends on what opponents they put in front of her. But we'll see. And so Ronda wins, and it was probably exactly what it needed to be. It was pretty quick. Interesting to see where they go from here.
I can't remember
the Bellas come and celebrate.
Oh yeah, I was going to say I can't remember the Fox match from Raw, but I don't know if this is probably her weakest match, which is still, I mean, the crowd were firmly into it, but it did what it needed to do. It was a culmination of the Alexa storyline, and it was fun. It was a good feel-good moment as well, because obviously Natalia got to celebrate as well. I was like, there's no way this fucking heel turn, which they've been telegraphing for the last 3 months, they can't be doing that tonight. There's no way. And I was like, okay, they're definitely not doing it. That's fine for now. I thought her celebration was really good as well. She dedicates it to Piper and fans, and then she runs over to her husband, and it seems like a real moment for her. She's obviously absolutely ecstatic on this.
Why the Bellas are getting in there, I don't know. Obviously, if it's they're going to do Evolution, but
I imagine they're setting up this match between Nikki Bella and Ronda Rousey. It'll probably be something simplistic like who's the biggest superstar to come out of the WWE in terms of being a woman.
Yeah.
It'll literally probably be that, and they'll be talking about pie charts and stuff about internet traffic and stuff. Drew Gulak was there.
So there you go. It was pretty decent.
Yeah, it was okay. I've not. It's hilarious because it's literally like this is Brock, but this is someone who actually wants to be here and looks like they will actually appreciate being here. So
yeah,
hopefully it's good things. Hopefully,
well,
this is a real test. It's much I was going to say this is much quicker than what I thought it was going to be. I thought she would have been Mania next year, but obviously they pulled the trigger now. So, but speaking of Brock.
Yeah, talking of Brock, we move to the main event of SummerSlam 2018. Universal Championship match, Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman against Roman Reigns. Can Roman finally beat him? Can he dethrone Brock Lesnar? Yes! Spoilers! The big dog has beaten the big pink fluffy
sweat
Lesnar
monster.
motherfucker. Yeah. And so this is finally fucking done. we finally got Roman winning and beating Lesnar. Fairly convincing, minus the whole... Well, no, but I
I
mean,
don't
convincing in
know.
that it was a spear and a free count.
Oh
Let's
no,
just...
yeah.
So yeah, let's just... I mean, look, so...
There's not a lot to talk about in terms of actual wrestling moves.
Well, no, it's not. I mean, I think it was a couple of suplexes, a couple of Superman punches, 4 spears, and the match was over. Pretty much. So they both come out. Braun Strowman's music hits, and I think it was Alvarez actually that I think quite rightly pointed out. So when Braun comes out, the crowd immediately think that it's because he's going to cash in and make it a freeway. So they get that kind of big pop out the way, and they do pop big for it. And then he kind of says, "Well, no, I'm not cashing in, but I'm man enough to cash into your face, so I'll be here
I've been
when
saying this.
whoever wins."
I've been saying this since Money in the Bank. I was like, Braun is not gonna fucking randomly do it at the end of the thing like a coward. He literally had pre-announced it. I was shocked. I thought he was gonna say, I'm gonna do it another day or something. I didn't realise he was actually intending to do it tonight, like after the match, which is still a bit cowardly, but they can't all be RVD where it's like, I'm cashing in and this is your advance warning, it's next month.
Mm.
But
Yeah, so they do that, and then he stands outside just waiting with his briefcase. The match starts with a flurry of Superman punches, and then I think he hits 3 spears.
I've put he's hit 3 Superman punches, 3 spears, and then Brock immediately goes for a guillotine.
Oh yeah, the 3rd spear he catches him in a guillotine choke. Roman picks him up, spine busters to break it, and then he gets another guillotine on, holds it for quite a while. And considering this match went 6 minutes 10 seconds, a lot of it was on these guillotine spots.
I was going to say, like, what?
During the last guillotine, there was a big "Let's go Roman." Roman sucks dueling chant.
Yeah, he's done it. He's actually got some of the crowd. He's got one of the Cena chants.
I think so. Yeah. Roman breaks that guillotine with another slam. This is when Brock takes his gloves off, which is pretty similar to when Angle gets rid of the straps. It just means that he's ready to punch people and finish it off.
This is WrestleMania flashbacks. This is Orton flashbacks. It's like, right, he's now going to take the piss.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's a good like signal, good signal spot. So Brock takes his gloves off. He hits a few suplexes. Roman goes for another spear, but Brock dodges this spear, which means that Roman goes through and takes out Braun Strowman. This is when Lesnar follows this up by F5ing Strowman on the outside. Strowman has been taken out. Yep.
Coach says it's Brock Strowman, which means they've obviously merged.
Yep. Yeah, he does look a bit like a Boo from Dragon Ball Z, doesn't he, Brock? So maybe looks like a Boo. Looks like one of the versions of Boo.
Brock, yeah, he looks like Super Boo.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So
except he doesn't turn people into candy; he turns people into a human growth hormone.
Well,
whatever
he was visibly leaner, actually.
He was, wasn't he? His arms were a little.
He was obviously still huge and in great shape, but he was obviously leaner, so he's obviously off the gas. Anyway,
sorry.
This is when Brock picks up the Money in the Bank briefcase, throws it so far it breaks the entrance Titantron wall, which I thought was quite funny.
Somewhere Kevin Dunn screaming.
Yeah. And this is Roman's chance. As Brock enters the ring, he hits him with a 4th spear and a 1, 2, 3. Roman wins. And I thought it kind of came out of nowhere, but it did get a bit of a pop. There was some audible boos a little bit afterwards, but it did get a pop, which I think is, if that's ultimately the goal of this match, is to get that pop on the 3 count, then they achieved it. Roman Reigns wins the Universal title, 6 minutes 10 seconds, pinfall via spear. It was a bit out of nowhere, but I thought it was executed pretty well. And yeah, the broadcast closed pretty soon after, and that brought an end to SummerSlam. What did you think?
The match itself, I had no high hopes for it whatsoever. In fact, I put down when Braun came out, I was like, right, this is potential fucking doomsday scenario where Brock beats Roman and then proceeds to beat Braun afterwards, and then it's revealed Brock has signed 3 more matches. Up until January, I was like, oh my god, no. The match was okay. As you say, it came out of nowhere, the spear. But I'm kind of glad because it's like the alternative is that Roman hits another fucking 50 moves and then manages to beat Brock. A little bit fucked off that Brock gets a little bit of a rub because it's like, oh, if Braun wasn't out there and all the shenanigans were taking place outside, he might have probably beat Roman. And it's like, just have a definitive fucking finish where Roman just absolutely trances him. They had the right idea to begin with, where he like hits 3 fucking Superman punches and 3 spears, and then they should have had, I don't know, have Heyman do some shenanigans. Basically, don't have the guy who's leaving get anything in. Just have him lose definitively, because it just makes your guy look stronger. But I take it Brock is getting a rematch, or is he actually now gone?
Apparently, the last appearance on his contract was the Raw, was scheduled to be Raw, and they didn't use him. So I don't know. I don't think we'll be seeing him for a while.
Maybe ever. I imagine it's kind of hard to think because it's like, well, if they've got one appearance left, surely they would use that for his rematch clause. Get that done.
I suppose he's always got that. He's always got that.
What?
He's always got that in the locker, right? Yeah. Yeah.
I suppose.
Well, I mean, if he comes back at some point, he's got a feud with Braun again because Braun technically cost him the title, and he's got a feud with Roman again, or a match with Roman again at least, as some kind of rematch.
I hope he doesn't
easy
come
booking,
back.
really.
It's easy to say. I mean, we've ragged on him, saying like, the guy doesn't give a fuck. But it's like ultimately, it's down to Vince how he fucking books him. But on the other end, it's like his matches are so pedantic and fucking basic. It's like he does 2 moves, one of which, I mean, the guillotine. No offense, it required Roman to go into the fucking move to begin with for him to do it. His matches are just so boring. They really are, and it's like I don't give a fuck about this guy. It's like, because the entire promo, as I said to you, the Raw for the last however many days it's been, it's had a massive granite ceiling where the card can't move ahead. They can't have new main eventers because nothing happens. There's no world champion to actually compete against. And at least now with Roman, it's like, well, the guy's there pretty much every week. And he will defend the title because that's how they're going to book him from now on. They'll have to say he's the workhorse champion. It's like, well, if you ain't got me, then you've got a potential Brock Lesnar coming in. We can't have that. But no, very happy for a Roman. I think this was do or die at this point. It's dead obvious to look back and go like, well, they were obviously building for like this last gasp title shot. But it's like the way they've booked him for the last, since Mania, probably before that. It's like they did this for Luger, so what the fuck? I mean, it's completely possible that they could have totally fucked it.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm just glad he's got this point, and then they can just do whatever they want now. They can book it how they're going to book it and whatnot, whatever.
I don't think it'll be I don't think it's going to be a record break. I was going to say, I don't think it's going to be a record-breaking title reign. I don't think they're going to do that. I think he'll hold it until the winter. He'll drop it to whoever the heel is going to be leading into Mania, and then he'll probably be back in the main event scene.
Probably, yeah.
Which is fine.
Well, it depends if the rumours of him and The Rock at WrestleMania might
really Reigns and Rock.
Well, it's been a rumour loads, but there is a rumour that The Rock has said he's up for WrestleMania, and it would be a big deal if they could do it, but we'll see.
I can imagine if Rock was like, "I put your hand up, and the crowd shit on me, so I'm come back as the people's champ to shit on you in promo packages, just like Cena."
Yeah. Why not?
SummerSlam was okay. What did you think of it, man?
I thought it teetered on good. It teetered on very good at some points, but it was a good show. A good show.
There was a bit of fat to trim, but it was much better than I thought it would be. But NXT was much better. It's probably the best SummerSlam for quite a while, actually. To be fair, like
I agree. Yeah.
What was last year's bollocks? I've got it here actually somewhere. Where the fuck is it? What was last year's SummerSlam? Yes, I do. What do you think was last year's? Oh God, Big Cass and the Big Show.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, Bray Wyatt and Finn Balor of the first of their great series.
What was the main event? Brock,
Joe, Reigns, and Strowman.
Oh, right, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that one.
Right, so that's NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 4 and SummerSlam 2018 in the books. A good show, and kind of got me looking forward to what they're going to do at Hell in a Cell. I think there's some decent storylines coming out of that. So, thank you for listening to episode 24 of SWA Podcast. As always, you can catch us on soundcloud.com/smarksforattitude. We're on iTunes. I looked at a few other apps, and if you're on Android and you download things like Podbean and whatnot, you can grab us on there as well. We're all listed on there. Email address is smarksforattitude@gmail.com if you want to drop us a line there. And if you want to follow us on a Twitter account that sometimes gets loads of love and sometimes gets nothing, it's SWA_podcasts. And again, thanks for listening. We'll be back to do... Well, we'll be back soon to do the second part of our Goldberg retrospective.
We should really... I was going to say we should really do more of them because...
Yeah, they're quite fun.
Man.
Yeah.
The last one was great.
So... Yeah, we'll be back soon for that, and then obviously Hell in a Cell, and then Evolution, and then maybe the Melbourne show, depending on... Well, we'll see. Probably will at the end of the day, or we'll do some kind of catch-up episode. So,
that's sexist, yeah. We've got to give it full love and attention.
Yeah. So, thanks for listening.
Sorry. Open up a can of worms.
So, thank you for listening. We'll be back soon, and toodaloo.
See you guys.